Hi everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about the JEPQ or JP Morgan ETF. I just started this new portfolio here, and my goal is to get to $1,000 a month in dividends with just this ETF. And as you can see, I only have 0.25 shares. That's the beauty of Fidelity, is that you can invest fractional shares. And so I'm not affiliated with Fidelity in any way, shape, or form, but I do in fact invest with them. And I like the fact that you can actually use the fractional shares, right? So the ownership in terms of basically buying, if you want to buy 1/10 of one share of an ETF or an individual stock, or you want to buy 1/4 of one share or a half of a share, you don't necessarily have to buy a full share. This is really helpful, especially if you're just starting out investing, to where you don't have to necessarily invest a large amount right off the bat. So as you'll see, just to start off with this portfolio, we're investing 1/4 or 0.25 shares. And just on that small investment, you'll see the annual dividend is currently coming up to over $5 per share. Now with this ETF, they pay on a monthly basis, as I've discussed on other videos. And you'll see that they have variable dividends. And these dividends are going to be all over the place. You'll see some that pay 35 cents, 45 cents. But if we take this average dividend and we take that divided by 12, you can kind of get a feel for how much on average would you be paid per month. And the answer is, it looks like 0.42115 in terms of those dividends. And so if we take that times 1,000 shares, let's say, now we're looking at $421, and that's on a monthly basis, right? So, and of course, like I said, these are variable dividends. But if we let's go ahead and increase this to 2,000 shares, and you'll see that we're now at $842 per month. And so the idea here is that we're going to continue building this up until we hit the $1,000 per month. And whether that takes 5 years, whether that takes 10 years, whatever it is, my hope is that this channel will still be around, and I can come back and update you guys on the progress with this ETF and how things are going. So we have, a 0.42115 dividend. Once again, the way we got that is multiplying it times 12, comes up with that annual dividend amount. And even just taking the annual dividend of over $5 per share, we can look at this and say, okay, well, we have 0.25 shares. So multiply it times 0.25 or 1/4 of a share, and we have over $1 in dividends already that we're going to be receiving every year. Now that might sound ridiculous, like, oh yeah, $1, big whoop, but it's the proof of concept, right? So if we can get to $1 in dividends, which we already have obtained at this point, what's stopping us from getting to $1,000 in dividends every year? What's stopping us from getting to $10,000 in dividends every year? Or better yet, $100,000, right? Everybody's dream is, to retire. Anybody who's a dividend investor, I think a lot of people have that goal of retiring on dividends. And the idea here is that, hey, if we can just scale this thing, then perhaps we can in fact get to these levels. And perhaps we can in fact get to these higher income amounts. And so if we take this, dollar plus per share, or dollar plus that we're going to be making on our 0.25 shares, dividing it by 12, you'll see that right now we're earning 10 cents every single month on average, right? Over 10 cents per our 0.25 shares, right? Not even one share. So if we multiply that times 4, then you get that 0.42115 number as confirmation. What's also interesting is that they actually paid that exact dividend last month, so this 0.42115, it looks like, is also based upon this annual dividend calculation here of over $5 per share. So keeping that in mind, you can look at these most recent dividends. I've mentioned this in a lot of other videos, but basically you'll see that there's all these variable dividends. Some months you're going to be making, let's say, 35 cents, 38 cents per share, etc. But even though it's on a very small scale right now, like I said, I hope to update you guys and keep you in the loop with how this goes, and ultimately, get to this goal that I have here of $1,000 per month. Maybe you can even follow along with me if you want and start your own sample portfolio and kind of go from there. So hopefully we can have some fun with this, come back to it in 6 months or a year, see how the progress is going. And just remember, guys, you have to start somewhere. So even though I'm only starting off with a fraction of a share of this ETF, my hope is to maybe get to 1,000 shares someday, then 2,000 shares. And in fact, we can go over real quick how much or how many shares we would actually need to get to $1,000 per month. And the answer, it looks like, is actually going to be over 2,400 shares per month. So if we take 2,400 times 0.42115, I actually did this calculation previously, that would come up to that over $5 per share annual dividend. And you'll see that we are making, in that case, $1,010.76. So 2,400 shares, if we take the average share price right now of $55.88, assuming that share price stays the same, we know it's not going to, but we're looking at roughly $135,000 invested into this ETF. And by doing that, we are going to be able to reach our goal of hitting $1,000 per month. So let's just say we wanted to do this over 60 months, or 5 years, not even assuming reinvested dividends, but if we just take that divided by 60, you can see here that we would need to invest over $2,000 per month to hit our goal in the next 5 years if we want to really make this happen. And like I said, that's not factoring in any kind of reinvested dividends or anything like that. But even if we're only doing $500 a month, we're still going to get there eventually, right? And one more thing to keep in mind is that I'm doing this in an individual brokerage account, which is going to be taxable. But you might want to consider, let's say, a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, where you're going to have those either tax-deferred dividends where you can reinvest them, or the Roth IRA where you can actually have the tax-free distributions in retirement. So depending on how you want to go about it, like I said, for this portfolio, we're just going to be doing a regular taxable account of $1,000. We're going to hopefully scale that to $1,000 in dividends. But I might start a separate portfolio where we do another $500 a month in dividends, let's say, or $1,000 goal or something like that, where we have a Roth IRA specifically geared towards that. So there's a lot of different strategies. That's the beauty of cash flow and dividend investing. There's a lot of different ways to get there. These ETFs, the JEPQ, JEPI ETFs, these types of options, covered call ETFs, etc. A lot of these will not only pay you on a monthly basis, but they're also going to pay above average dividend yields of, let's say, 9 to 11% on average. And so that's the beauty of it. And hopefully, we'll see what happens here, but hopefully I can reach my goal of $1,000 per month, Lord willing. And until next time, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know if you're going to follow along with me, and if you're going to start your own portfolio like this to maybe reach a similar goal. With that being said, guys, have a great week. God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.